Hello, everyone. Welcome to another BB Hangout. This is the silent podcast where we are anything but silent. My name is Sarah Yell, and today I have Chantel.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here talking about one of my favorite pastimes, and that being Big Brother Canada. So I'm happy that you asked me to join you today to get really into it, do like a deep dive into what's happening this season. Super excited.
Yeah, and it's been a pretty exciting week. I think a lot of things have happened, and it kind of started with kind of a slow campaign from Kyle. I think that's kind of how the week started for us. How'd you feel about Kyle's campaign?
He seems to be like the only person that was kind of campaigning. That's one thing though, like it's, I would say, a downside of this season for me is that there's not a lot of gameplay. People are kind of reactionary as to like what's going on right now, and they'll try to do something to fix that. But they should have been thinking about that 2 weeks ago, laying down the groundwork so that people would be more inclined to want to work with them or listen to them when they're not desperate. So I thought that it was a decent pitch that Kyle had, saying that he would be the one to be able to take a shot at Keifer. But I think it was too soon to offer that up. And then saying, I'm going to be, if I'm final two, no one's going to vote for me. It's a little bit too early in the game. They're not even at jury yet. So yes, decent points, but I don't think that they were very effective with where the players were in the game at that point.
Yeah, I agree. It's such a long game. That's the problem with Big Brother, is that people want to send people home, not necessarily if it's right for the game, but just because they don't like them or things. Because it's a lot to be with someone for that long with no technology. And
yeah, exactly. Like you better like them at least a little. It's usually better gameplay to keep in people that you don't like, but like it's also your livelihood and your experience. So I also understand getting people out that you don't jive with. So.
Yeah, one thing that I thought was really weird, though, was obviously everyone in the house knows that Ro and Kyle were so close, and Ro did no work for Kyle. Like, Ro did not. And I think there could have been a flip if there had been more Kenny potentially, but he's doing nothing for his allies, is he?
Personally, I don't think that Ro would be helpful. I find that Ro, to me, how he kind of comes across like he always wants to, like, I don't want to be emotional. I just want to lay out the facts and like what's the best for people's game. And so sometimes he's right about maybe what could be a good move for the other person, but his delivery, in my opinion, sometimes doesn't land in a way that is appealing to the person that he's speaking to. So he could maybe even have done more damage, because it's like, oh, if Ro wants that, we don't want Ro to have him stay. And then I also think that it was really damaging for them the week before, not having a moment to edit and not go into that pantry and talk to Keifer that way. So I wish that they had just if they wanted to both stay, they should have been thinking about it that week, where it's like, oh, I really shouldn't go and attack anybody here, even if they're deserving or whatnot, because who knows who's going to have power next week, or who knows who's going to be voting. So I don't know if Ro would actually have been good campaign buddy.
Uh-oh. Am I back? Oh, shoot.
Both here? I don't know if it was me that left or that was you that left.
I think it was me. I think I left.
I don't know. No. I was. Who knows? But we're both still here.
Okay, we're back. We're back. Where were we? We're talking about Ro.
I was just basically saying that I don't know if Ro would be the best person to campaign, because he doesn't seem to appeal to the other house guests with how he presents his strategy.
Yeah, no, I agree. Hi, Geneva.
Hello, Geneva.
I kind of want to go back to Keifer. I might be jumping ahead a bit, but Keifer has had, to me, the most appealing character arc. Because at the beginning of the season, I definitely was like, I can't stand Keifer. I don't like the way he talked to Austin. I don't like the way that he's playing. I think he's playing kind of, I don't know. I guess I don't like when people get to be on Big Brother and they're almost kind of like, I almost would be fine if I left. Like that kind of attitude always really rubs me the wrong way as like a big fan of Big Brother. But now all of a sudden Keifer, I think, has made this huge turnaround where I think he would have been a pawn for everyone. And now I think he actually is in pretty good graces with almost the whole house.
Yeah.
How do you feel
I
about
mean,
Keifer?
I personally didn't mind Kiefer. Like it didn't seem to bother me how he was playing in the beginning. Yes, I totally agree with you. Whenever anybody says like, "Oh, I want to go home," but this is not what I expected. Now that I'm getting to know him a little bit better, I feel like it was gameplay to make him look as though he's not trying to be there that much. We know him and Victoria are both of the two super fans in the season, so I think that it was strategy that just doesn't sit well with us. But I do think it might have worked to make him seem as though like he's lone man. He doesn't have anybody that he's working with. Like he misses his family. He's been nominated a couple of times. So I think that it just made him less of a flashy target. But I totally get where you're coming from, where it's not really appealing, especially since so many people would love to be on that show. So please don't threaten to quit because it's some of our dreams. So I agree, but I think I see his point too.
Yeah, but then he's going. So unfortunately, Kyle did end up being the boot. Well, I don't know if it's unfortunately, but Kyle
Did
left.
you want him to stay?
No, I didn't. So I don't know why I said unfortunately.
I didn't want him to.
Yeah, but then we have this invisible HOH. What do you think about an invisible HOH?
Well, I like produced my own weekend version of Big Brother, and we did have something similar of that on one of our seasons. So I've been waiting to see something like that. And I think it's super fun. I wish that there was a little bit of a consequence of people finding out who the head of household is. I wish that we could have played along a little bit more with trying to figure out who it is. It's like we pretty much knew if you're watching the feeds who was going to be the secret HOH pretty much anyway. It would have been great if there was a penalty nomination or something if it was revealed or something. I wish there was a consequence, but I think it's super
more like
fun.
a saboteur, so the audience has a bit of fun guessing as well. No, I agree. But I do think it's such a fun opportunity to allow for big moves to be made in the Big Brother house because so many people are so scared of the consequences of putting up the big targets. And so for whoever was the HOH.
I mean, it was pretty obvious, but I thought she did I was pretty impressed by her accuracy in the head of household competition. And also with Tara's accuracy, she was, I believe, at 11 away or 12 away, and she was able to 11's my lucky number, and Tara was able to be in a tiebreaker with Victoria at that final round, which I thought was pretty impressive. The comp was only 45 minutes though. I wish that we'd seen it on the feeds. I think that would have been really pretty exciting to see people nervous watching out this comp. It wasn't that long, so I wish that we got to see more of it. But
yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I have seen some complaints online too that the feeds have been cut of a huge amount. A lot of the feeds have been cut more than we're really used to, especially on a newbie season. Because I know sometimes on All Stars they get cut, I think, because of contracts, but on a newbie season, I don't know if BB Can, maybe it's just a little bit different than BBUS, but
I mean, BB Can has always cut more than BBUS. And I'm thinking that the reason is because there's a lot more obvious sponsorships. And so I wouldn't be surprised if it's to be able to edit if any of the house guests aren't using that sunlight detergent in a kindly fashion. I don't know. They if they're saying anything offside, or if any maybe drinking, they don't want to show too much because they don't want maybe the house guests to do something that would affect their brand relationship. So I actually think that that's probably the reason why there is so much feed cutting, is to protect their brands.
Yeah, but when the house guests drink, those are the best feeds. So why would they cut them?
I want so much more of that. The party that they were having, everybody's dancing for each other and kissing.
Is that when Spin the Bottle happened too?
Yeah, totally would have loved
middle school. We love it,
right?
So they did what wasn't Tina eating mayonnaise or something?
Yeah, I don't know if I would enjoy that. That's so disgusting.
That's interesting to have on live television.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
Yeah, but then so Victoria I think that we said that, right? Victoria is the secret HOH, just to no one's surprise. What? Look at her. Look at this comp beast.
She's impressing me in that way. A lot of people are really, really loving Victoria because, you know, she's super messy and the feeds are really good.
Mhm.
And as much as I enjoy watching it as a show, as a person that really loves strategy, she's so frustrating to watch. And if I was in that house with her, she would be probably my #1 target. I would not be able to play the game with her, which is funny.
Really? Wait, how would you play the game? And for Cookie Assassin, we're talking about Big Brother Canada.
Yes. Well, I mean, I'm more strategic. I don't like lying. I do like loyalty. She just seems to like. I just would never
Would
know.
you be LaToya to that degree?
I think I'm better strategically and socially than LaToya was.
Yeah, I agree.
Just because I am able to be nice to people that I might not like that much.
Mhm.
But I just like I didn't really enjoy how she like lies and like, you know, she was really so set on getting LaToya out, and LaToya was never coming for her. And so I didn't think that all of her choices were completely strategic, and you know, the promises that she was made didn't set her up for the weeks coming ahead. So
Mhm.
she's just too much of a wild card for me if I were playing a game to want to have her around, because I like being able to predict what my allies and enemies would do. So
Yeah, I get that. But on the flip side, I see wild cards as opportunities. Because there's some people that you're like, I will never have them on my side. But someone like Spicy V. Spicy V has been flip-flopping more than anyone in that house.
she
They
was
might vote with
me
you.
out.
Yeah, because you know, a few weeks ago, she was in this major alliance, the Oddballs. And who goes on the block? Two Oddballs.
That's true. But see, she also I find she gets offended quite easily, and so she was offended when Austin and Braden didn't really stand up for her when they were trying to save Kyle and Roe. And so I understand that, being like, oh, that's so annoying, like I don't want to talk to you anymore, I'm going to put you guys up. But I think that if she was a little more strategic, she'd realize that it was probably best for her to break up the throuple as opposed to ingratiating herself in that trio.
Yeah, which I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't her logic for putting up Austin and Braden was to almost frame the trio? So if people think it's the trio, then someone else will take the shot and she doesn't have to, and she can stay in their good graces. Was that her logic?
Yeah, it's decent logic, but everybody knows it was her. Like she had to have fallen through with like.
Do they know? Do they all know now? Because I know at one point Austin was like, "It's Ty. I know it's Ty."
I actually haven't been completely up to date with the feeds, like how they feel about her, but I know that Ty and Jed and Beth are like, yeah, it's 100% Victoria, and then we know that Keifer knows 100%. So
yeah, she's a good liar, though. You have to admit she's a good liar. You don't think so? You don't have to admit if you don't want to.
I mean, I think that she's a bold liar. Like, I'm like, bold. Like, okay, you're just gonna like flat out lie to Beth and Kyle's face in front of the entire house and just like go for it, and they're just like not biting. So she's bold. I don't know if everybody believes all of her lies, because I think that they're just like, she can't be lying about this poorly. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
she's bold. I'll say bold liar.
That's what I love about Big Brother, though, is that when you get into that house, there's no way for people to know whether or not you're lying about like who you are as a person, like what you do and things like that. So I would love to get in the Big Brother house and just like make up stories all the time about my life to appear like a more interesting human.
Do you also watch The Circle?
I watched the first season. Yes, I haven't kept up though, so I didn't watch. And I heard that the international circles are very good, and I haven't watched.
Well, I started watching those, and then The Circle US came out, and so I'm just curious. Then, so would you go in as a catfish?
Would I go in as a catfish?
Yes.
Of course. I think it's way more fun to be a catfish on the show.
Interesting.
I want to have the most fun experience. So yeah, I'd be a catfish. I don't know who I'd be. Ooh, maybe I could be like a nerdy boy, like some weird nerdy boy. I don't know, just something fun.
Interesting. Like I would absolutely, unless I was forced to, I would not go in as a catfish, because I just find that like making up stories all the time, you become a two-dimensional person, and it's hard to connect with people. And so that's like that's why I wouldn't want to lie necessarily in like Big Brother situations, because like how you connect with people is with life stories and shared experiences. So yeah, for The Circle, for sure, I'd have to go as myself, because I wouldn't have to want to be like, oh, let me get out of this because I don't know what this person would say, you know?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And there was, I remember watching the Circle US, there were some, like, I think Rebecca, wasn't it Well, I forget his name, but he was acting like his girlfriend. And some of his messages were so cringy in my eyes. I was like, that is not how Rebecca would talk.
No. I totally agree that he was. It was entertaining, absolutely.
Yeah.
But winning, I don't know. It's very easy for you to be found out, and people might not want you in the game anymore. So that's why I would go into this house, like Big Brother house. I'd probably be as honest as I possibly could be, because I would want to have real experiences with people, because I think that bond really helps solidify staying. You know, we talked about it in about keeping people in there that you like, and so you tend to gravitate towards people that you have shared experiences with. So I would be me.
Yeah, that makes sense. But what if you have things about you that people don't like LaToya lied about being a cop? Do you think that was advantageous for her?
Yes, I do think withholding.
Withholding. Difference, big difference.
Right? Like, I work as an actor at times. I don't think I would mention that. I have other, like, you know, careers that I've had in my life that I probably would more likely go with that would be more helpful with them, you know, gaining friendships and trust and stuff.
It's funny how in reality games, there's certain careers that people just do not trust. Like poker players, like first boot every time.
No poker players. No poker players. No cops.
Yeah.
Firefighters and stuff are good, but until the end, because people don't want to have any heroes at the end.
Oh, and too many what?
Heroes.
Oh,
so
heroes,
they're just like, no, like you're too much of a good guy. You're out of here.
No, that makes sense.
Lawyers, no. Actors, I would say no.
See, I'm in law school, so that's gonna be no bueno. Did you watch Big Brother Over the Top?
I did, yes.
I love that season, but I know oh gosh, why am I blanking on her name? But she was in law school.
Shelby?
Yeah, Shelby, and I don't think she only told them when she was gonna go.
Yeah, I mean, that would be something that I would save maybe to use in like a final 2 speech, being like, no, I withheld this, blah, blah, blah. And I would use that to, you know, construct my final argument. My closing statement.
That's when you pull it out. Pull out the big guns. The big reveal, which is funny because it always is a big reveal on Big Brother, even though it's just a reveal to the cast. Like the audience is like, yeah, we know.
It says that.
Watching you. Yeah, we saw your intro. Okay, so then we can get to Veto now. Ro wins the veto.
I know. He's becoming a little bit of a comp beast as well. Do you have any idea what the competition was?
I do not remember off the top of my head, no.
Oh, we're talking about last week. No, we're not.
Ro, when he won the veto. I did not watch the most recent episode. Did it show on the episode? Because I'm personally more of a live feeds watcher.
Okay, so you're just ahead. I just was like, am I spoiling? This is kind of like a spoiler.
Oh no, we spoil.
Okay, so yes, he's won again, but I don't remember I don't remember hearing what the competition might have been. But I believe that Ty, Beth, and Rohan were playing, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, with Braden and Austin.
Yeah, and Braden, like, he was trying to convince Braden and Austin to throw the veto to like that they should throw it to him, and so he would use the veto on them. And Austin and Braden keep on referring to themselves as them, as like us, like save us. And, like, she should be fighting for herself at this point. Like, what could you offer these people for you to stay? Like, she's the target here, and the reason why Braden is up beside you is because they're trying to break you two apart. Chances are Braden will leave just to separate this duo if she were to come off the block. And so I wish that she was working more so for herself at this point, because Braden can do some work on his own as well.
Mm-hmm. But then Rode isn't using it. And how did you feel about that? Because people online were very annoyed and thought it was very bad gameplay.
With this season, there's nobody that I really love or really dislike yet. You know, like I'm not really on a side. And so I do think that to show loyalty and that you're working with somebody, it would have been a good idea for him to use it. But I think that he wants to save face with Victoria or the secret HOH. And so I think that that's why he's not using it, because he doesn't think that that's what the secret HOH wants. And so if Austin's the target and he uses it on Austin, he might become public enemy number 1 the following week and be put up right next to Austin anyways. So I think he's trying to buy himself another week where he might be able to kind of slip out of the spotlight and maybe move a week ahead. I personally, if an ally's on the block and I win the veto, I'm 99% chance I'm going to be using it on my ally, but I kind of see where he's coming from here, but it just sucks.
Yeah, because I get it as well. Where it's I think that sometimes he doesn't see how fluid Big Brother can be, which I think is also what happened when Kyle was on the block. I think he had in his head like, okay, Kyle's going home, and I think the same thing happened here, where I think in his head's like, oh, if I save one of them, the other one's going home anyway. When Big Brother's not like that. Like, it's so fluid and things flip so often. I think you should always risk it. And like, maybe that would happen. Maybe you take one of them off and the other one goes home, but so be it. I don't know. If anything, that puts the HOH in kind of a position of potentially like creating a new enemy for being forced to put someone up. I think even that's powerful in this game.
And who do you think she would put up?
I would think Beth. I don't know though. I know that people were talking about the boys going up. I think people online were, but I don't think she would put the boys up.
Not right now. It seems as though she's made an alliance. Oh, we're going to talk about the alliances later, but with the boys. So I don't think that they are on her radar right now. But I do think it could still be maybe Beth or Tara would have been the 2 options if Rohan were to use the power of veto on Austin. And if Tara went up, I think that Brayden would still go, I think.
I think so as well.
I wish he would use it though. I like people showing their loyalty and being like, no, we're doing this. We're going to try to all stick together. So.
Yeah, because I think people do see Tina and Tara as a duo as well, but I don't think they're as threatening of a duo as Austin and Brayden are. Like, I don't think they're like as, like, I think they are, but I don't think people see them as tight as Austin and Brayden, at least.
And neither of them have been proven to be as good in competitions as Austin has been. So I think that that's also pretty scary. They're so super tight. They'll always vote together. They completely trust each other. They can't be separated. And she's pretty good at competition. So, I mean, they're I would say they're more deadly of a duo. But later down the road, I think Tina is going to be really someone very hard to get out and very hard to beat. I think that she's in the best position right now in the house.
Tara.
Tina.
Oh, Tina. Okay. I agree then.
But I think the worst part of her game right now is that she's a tight duo with Tara, because I think that Tara is terrible at the game. And I just see that she makes a lot of mistakes. She talks a lot. And I think that because they're seen as a tight duo, that if people want to get Tara out, they might put Tina up right beside her. And that's a dangerous position to be in. So
yeah.
I think that
if someone starts to see Tina's game, then she could be cut like that.
Exactly.
Do we want to start going through the alliances then? Are you good with that? Okay, I'm going to pull it up. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Share screen. Window. Here we go. Okay, and I don't actually like. Okay, so I got this from. Was it tiny for you?
A little bit.
Oh, why is it tiny? Here, I'll go full screen.
You have to.
Is that better?
Read what it says. Okay, I can kind of see it.
Is it better? Can you see it?
I can see it. I can't fully read the lettering that well, so you'll just have to tell me who it is, and then I'll be.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard because there's so many of them, and this was created by 89 Razor Skate 20, which he has, I think, a Twitter, and I stole it from him. But yeah, as you can see, there's a lot of alliances that have been on this season. What's my stream there too? But yeah, because we have the Sunsetters and Victoria now, which is very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good idea for her to have herself there. The boys and Keifer and Beth, I don't think that they're going to come for her right now. I think once they get to the jury, maybe, once that phase starts, she might be a little bit more danger from them, but I don't see them going after her right now.
Yeah, and just looking at this, like there's some people that seem to be all over the board. Like Victoria is in so many alliances right now. Keifer is even in a decent amount. Tina.
So the second one, that's the pre-90s with, so TNT, right? That makes sense. And then with Keifer, the pre-90s.
The olds.
Hey, I would be in the pre-90s, okay? And then and then so Keifer and Victoria, they're what?
They're very tight. I think they're considered a duo. I think they were kind of two lone wolves that joined forces.
What does it say that their name is? I can't read the.
I think it's just Katoria, like Keifer and Victoria.
Oh no, but they named themselves yesterday something spicy. Hold on.
Oh, I don't know.
It was
the Victoria one is the Ghost Peppers, right?
Ghost Peppers isn't that the trio with Victoria, not Keifer?
Yeah. The trio with Victoria, not Keifer, exactly. How did that conversation go? We're going to include Keifer, right?
He's on the outskirts.
Yeah.
I hope she doesn't tell Keifer that though, because I don't want Keifer to not trust them, because I do like them working together, you know?
Yeah, and I'm not even sure how legit that alliance is, because the one I'm talking about is the Ghost Peppers one with the thruple and Vic. Because I just don't think that they actually really wanted to work with her, because she's been basically, I don't want to say begging, but kind of trying to get them to give her anything, and then finally they do, just because she's been in power so much. They're kind of forced to.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's definitely a begrudging approach with her being in alliance with her. I do feel though, like I know that a lot of people have been talking about how she approached them when LaToya was still in the house, and they didn't really jump on the fact that they wanted to work with her. But I do feel though the reason why that happened was because the team twist was still in play. And if they were to bring in Victoria now, then LaToya, who doesn't really like lying, couldn't really be able to guarantee Victoria having safety if she were to win the head of household, because she would already be promising Ty, already promising Tina, already promising, there's one other person that she would be promising. I don't think she would have put up Tara at that time. And so there just were too many people that she wouldn't be putting up. Beth is another one. So it's 4 people. There'd only be 3 people left. I think that she just didn't want to say like, yeah, we're working together, and then put her up. I think that that's why she didn't jump on and be like, yeah, absolutely, let's do this. Let's lock it in. And so I think that the team twist, them not knowing when it was going to end, I think that that kind of messed up that area of gameplay. And that's where that whole, things went downhill with her not feeling that the boys wanted to work with her.
Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't really heard that theory before, that the team, because I guess in my head, a lot of times the house guests were like, who cares about the team twist? I mean, I think you're right though. I agree with you. That probably did play a factor.
I do think
just not jumping on it. And then Ro, look at Ro. I think there's a chance that Ro could be in a decent spot. He's one to me that could go either way. What do you think about Ro's place in the house?
Ro,
he's alone.
He is alone. But I do think that if, like, the trio, if any of them get it, they will put him up. I think Keifer would still put him up. So right there, that's half the house that would still put him up for sure. I don't think Tina and Tara would put him up right now. Brayden, I don't think would put up right now. And I don't think that Victoria would put him up right now. So I think that half the house would put him up. And so I think he's still in a pretty dangerous position. But if those other people that I mentioned were to win next week, I think that he'd be in a safe spot. And he might be able to fade away because he's not as flashy as a target, knowing that he doesn't have Kyle in the house anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what about the bros? They're kind of an interesting one too, because they're not really in any alliances besides the ones that were from the very get-go. Because I think all these other alliances have been forming, but they've been pretty steady in who they connected with in the beginning. And I think it was Jed, though, that said an interesting thing on the feeds that was something along the lines of, they're the only 2 people in the house that talk to everyone. And I think it is a house of a lot of duos who stick so closely to each other. And even though they are associated as a duo, I think they do branch out and really do socialize more than the other house guests do.
Absolutely. And I do agree with that assessment from Jed, but I think that it's allowing him to feel a little bit too comfortable. And he should stay a little bit more paranoid because, like, yeah, he talks to everybody, but I do think that other side of the house that most of them would come for him and Chai if they were to win power, even though they talk to everybody. So I want them to put their guard back up and not feel too comfortable here because I do really like them. I'm enjoying them playing this game. I wish they were a little bit more strategic, of course, but I like them there, and I don't want them to be targeted yet, especially if it's a blindside by somebody that they didn't think was going to be targeting them, like a Tina.
And it is interesting because I think they still are seen as this really scary duo, and Jed's won one veto, correct? Is that the comp wins they have between them? Like, are they really that scary? I think the throuple is. I agree they are actually, but
I think that they're anticipating, like, probably in Sequester, they watched season 7, and season 7 was a really, with Pretty Boys, male-dominated season, a lot of physical competitions that the men were really easily able to win. And so I wouldn't be surprised if more of those competitions were coming down the road. Most of the ones up until this point have not really been that physically challenging or demanding. And so if there's any more physical challenges, they would have a really good shot at doing well. So they should be nervous of them, but they haven't proven themselves to be these comp beats that they are scared of. But I think that the challenges to come might prove that, like, shoot, we should have gotten them out earlier.
Yeah, because I don't think they're throwing things. I think they're just losing.
Yeah, I mean, well, the rock count, like, easy to lose. What was the veto last week? Wow, I don't remember from week to week what the veto was.
It wasn't the one where no, I think that was the HOH, the button one.
I don't even remember.
But it wasn't super physical.
Well, row 1, what was it? Wow, my mind's blank. I'm sorry. But it doesn't seem like they were all super physical. I mean, there's the one with the head of household, that Austin one, where it was the bow and arrow. So that was slightly physical, but they also have big muscles, so they would fatigue potentially a lot more quickly.
Yeah. That's like the wall comps. I can usually always decide who's going to win the wall comp before it starts.
Who do you think is going to win the wall comp before now seeing, like, how the setup is? Who do you think would be in the best position to win that?
Tara.
Me too. She's short and she's strong and she wants to win.
Yeah. That's like, literally, you could look at the body types, and it's usually the person that's a little shorter but buff, but not like too buff.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a reality stock watch that I've been playing in, and I have a lot on Tina right now. I have Tina and Jed.
Oh, those are good too.
I know, but, like, I feel like Tara is, like, digging a little bit of a hole for herself. She's been talking poorly about Tai, to Tai, and about Tai, and I just think that she's building a target on her, and I can see a lot of people putting her up next week. So I'm wondering if I should
doing the Austin campaign. I feel like Austin's doing the same thing, kind of.
Oh, wait, what's Austin saying?
Well, I'm thinking about Austin and Beth's conversation. Did you see that? Where Austin was basically like, yeah, I will never trust you because of what happened with the flip on my HOH. Like, when Austin's on the blog, it's like, you save that for when you're safe, honey. And I wish you talked to me.
For me. What?
Yeah, Austin is big. I don't know if Austin just thinks she's going and just wants to get all of her grievances out now.
That is, like, really bad gameplay.
Yeah.
Really bad. I mean, I know some people don't want to grovel. They don't want to promise, like, lie. I get that. But, like, don't tell somebody that's voting to keep you or send you home that you're not on their side, that you don't trust them. Like, that's just like, oh, you don't trust me? That means you'd be coming after me. Okay, I'm not going to keep you.
Yeah, because I think she literally had said something along the lines of, in these kind of games, once you break my trust, you'll never get it back, and you've broken my trust.
Like, she was saying the opposite. She was saying, like, you know what, like, up until this point, like, I didn't think that I'd be able to trust you again, but I realized that we're working together towards, like, a better relationship, and I do see us, like, doing something moving down the line. Like, let's solidify something. Let's work together. You know what I mean? Like, that's what she should be saying.
Yeah, someone said Beth could win it as well.
Beth, yeah, it seems like Beth is taller,
Yeah.
but
She's a farm girl, right? She has that farm girl strength.
True. I could see her and Tara being the final two.
Yeah, I still got money on Tara though.
Man, I don't want her to win, but I do have her in my stock watch. I don't know if I should sell her or not and try to buy somebody else. I don't know. So stressful. Not really.
Yeah. Oh, and Miriam also brought up the thing that I mentioned about how Austin thinks Ty's the HOH.
Still?
I think so. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but if that's the truth, then it's like, why are you telling Jed? Like, because oh yes, I think that's also why Austin was mad at Beth, because I think she blamed Beth because I don't know, apparently Beth is some puppet master of the house and has complete control over Ty, and so in Austin's eyes, it's like, Beth, if you liked me, I wouldn't be on the block because you could have stopped Ty.
I mean, I understand that logic to a certain extent. So like kind of like how you're saying, like you wish that Rohan had did a little bit more campaigning for Kyle. Like you do want to try to keep your allies in the game. But the difference here, in my opinion, is that Austin hasn't shown Beth that she's an ally. So why would Beth be like, no, we have to save Austin? Like Austin didn't care whether or not she had a friendship with Beth. She wasn't, she's telling all Beth's secrets to Victoria as the HOH. Like she was kind of gossiping with her about her to Brayden. Like, why would she be wanting to keep you off the block when you haven't been proving to be an ally at all? So I just think it's it's not an argument that holds any water, in my opinion, at all.
No, I agree. I think Austin just thinks she's done for, which is just like, you're never done. Until Larissa says you're done.
Like, somebody keep that Austin girl. Like, I really like Brayden. I like both of them. But Austin would be a number that you should be able to try to pull in and, use her as an HOH that will go after your targets. Absolutely. Instead of having Austin or Brayden, who's really great with his social game and might be able to, ingratiate himself in a new alliance. And, he talks to the boy, like he talks to everybody as well. And so I think he's more dangerous down the road because nobody's looking at him. So I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. He really is going straight back into that under the radar role. It's just gonna, I think, slide along.
Yeah, I don't. He might go back up as a pawn just because now he's already touched the block, so it's easy for people to touch the block again. But I don't see him being a target anytime soon.
Yeah, and also for Brayden, if it was finale night right now, like Brayden in my eyes would have no shot of winning. Like, what has he really done gameplay wise more than any other house guest?
Just that he's likable. Really. I think that's that's better than half of the house,
That's true. I guess some people are like, Tara, you're annoying.
Rohan's not that likable. Some people don't prefer Keifer. People don't like Beth. So, I mean, I don't think anybody dislikes Brayden. So
no, I don't think so either.
Definitely a plus.
So I don't know. I don't think I have any more to talk about the alliances. If you want.
The alliance name that I was talking about was. Oh wait, I forgot. I just saw it and then I forgot what it was. It was Real Spice. Real Spice.
Real Spice.
That's what they coined it yesterday on the episode. They said, like, I like the name when she was teasing him back and forth about like her being the secret HOH, and then he's like, no, I'm just kidding. I just want to hug, and I just I am. And when they're back and forth, they're just like, yeah, Real Spice. This is Real Spice, our final two. And so I think that I want Real Spice, though, to go to the end. So I know I was saying that I'm not the biggest fan of Victoria, but if her and Keifer got to the end, I would be really excited by that journey because it would probably be a mess. And I think that I could give Victoria a win there because, like, she didn't, in my opinion, set herself up well. And so if she gets there, she would most likely deserve to win.
Yeah, I think so, too. Gosh, if she gets there, I think if she gets there, she beats anyone. I don't know if you'd agree with that because she's been her game. I just think when people play such outward games and are so messy, if they can get there, they deserve it. Do they get there very often? No.
Exactly. So as I was saying yesterday, I was like, I'll eat my words. If Victoria gets to the end, she deserves the win. There's no way I can buy into right now that she's the greatest player of all time. Like, I can't.
But if you play that game 100 times, you only get there once. Which is hard to get there.
True.
Yeah, and I agree with this as well. I think Brayden, it's really going to be interesting to see how he plays if Austin leaves. Like where he's going to go, who he's going to align with.
I think, who do I think he would, maybe he would hang out with the boys a little bit. I don't even know who he talks to other than Brayden, like in a,
maybe
like he's friends with everybody, but I don't know who he could be like ride or dies with.
Yeah. He's going to be miserable. Oh, that's kind of sad.
I think that he would probably start talking to the boys.
Mm-hmm. I think Ro's got to be alone. Maybe him and Ro can kind of, just like how Keifer and Victoria kind of bonded, I think, as being a bit of the lone wolves. I can see Ro and Brayden kind of bonding because I think they like each other.
Yeah, I think I could see that too. I feel as though Brayden got along more with Kyle than with than with Rohan, but in desperation. So maybe then with Rohan having a little bit of an alliance with Victoria, maybe that could become a threesome. So it'd be Brayden, Victoria, and Rohan might be able to do something a little bit together. That could be
Victoria. You think they can mend the past?
I mean, she's just going to look like she's still a lone wolf a little bit. Yeah. Brayden can't hold a grudge here because he doesn't have anybody. So
that's true.
I think that if someone's like, hey, let's have an alliance, he's going to be like, oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm playing an online game right now. And I think I said almost the same thing. It's like sometimes it's like, yeah, I would love to hold a grudge. I would love to be, but sometimes you just can't. If you're like in the bottom of a game, sometimes you just don't have that luxury to hold a grudge.
Like, oh God, suck up.
Yeah, like at Final 5, I'll get my revenge, but right now,
that's one of the hardest parts I think about Big Brother is doing what's best for your game as opposed to doing what's best for your emotions, you know, and so. Mm-hmm. That's the hard balance that like this social experiment is that you have to like take into consideration everybody else's feelings and your own and choose what you are willing to share and not share or use or not use, you know?
Yeah, 100%. It's a long game. That's kind of I think the big difference between Big Brother and Survivor, kind of like that I talked about on here last week. We kind of compared the two, and the fact that it's so long. Even if there's a person, I think it's harder to sheep people you don't like because it's so long. You just don't want to have to spend time with them for that long.
And I also think the difference between Survivor and Big Brother is that Survivor is more of a numbers game. So with these big alliances in Big Brother, that's kind of, I always look at it more of like a Survivor style season. And so basically, if you're on the outside of the big alliance on Survivor, you're kicked out. And that's kind of how the last few seasons of US Big Brother have been going. It's just like one big alliance that's just, you know, picking off the extraneous house guests. And so I would say that's more of a Survivor style season, which I don't enjoy for Big Brother so much. For Survivor, that's Survivor. But for Big Brother, like I do like seeing these two sides or not really knowing who's going to put up whom. Like I like that better for Big Brother.
Yeah, I agree too. And I know at the very beginning of the season, I was so excited because all I want in Big Brother is a split house. And you know, now we have like 7 Horcruxes of split house now going on. Like I don't even know where the split is. I feel like there's such a an unclear split. If you just look at these alliances, like I don't know. I don't think the Sunsetters would nominate each other, but other than that, like it's fair game for everyone.
Yeah, it's definitely
how's Victoria Sunsetter on this anyway? Oh, plus Victoria.
I think she's kinda. I think that's like the alliance. What was it called? The alliance with the thruple and Victoria.
The Ghost Peppers.
The Ghost Peppers. So I think the Ghost Peppers kinda includes Keifer.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because Victoria would never nominate Keifer.
No, and I don't think that they would either.
Yeah, I agree. They're in good graces
right now, anyways.
But yeah, it's very interesting. It's going to be exciting. Who would you like to see win HOH? Who would you think would be the most exciting for you? I have an answer. I think Braden would be fun because I just don't know where he would go with it.
Yeah,
Would
I
he
do
go with
know
the
what Braden
boys?
would
I don't
do.
think he would. I don't know. I don't know who Braden would nominate. Maybe
You gotta
Tara and
see
Beth.
the
I don't know.
boys.
Yeah.
Those boys. Or maybe Beth and Jed, maybe, or Beth and Ty.
Mm,
Because I don't think that he likes Beth that much anymore as well.
yeah.
And I feel like Beth has been annoying some people in the house, and so I wouldn't be surprised if Beth went up there. And they can get people to want Beth out because Tara doesn't really like Beth very much.
Yeah.
Who do I want to see? I mean, it would be terrible for her position in the game, but I would be interested to see whether or not Tina had the chutzpah to nominate the boys. That's what she said she's going to do. I want to see if she's going to do it.
If she said she's gonna do it, she's gonna do it.
I want to see the how. Like
But
that.
she is funny. She is. I think that the way she talks is just very entertaining to me. Like I think she is very good at like having people think it's their idea in a way. Like I think she is very good at having people become on the same page as her. So it's not like her full responsibility. Like she's definitely not a dictator when she talks to people, which is like a very unique skill to have. I'd want Tina to be my boss.
Yeah, she'd be a good boss. She would be. I love Tina. She's also East Coast, so she has that like warm personality, even if she's like being strategic.
Yeah.
So
Are
no,
you Canadian?
Pardon?
Are you Canadian?
I am.
Oh, I didn't know that. I was like, I don't know what East Coast Canada means.
Oh, East Coast Canada. Well, I mean, what's East Coast in the States?
East Coast is you almost think kind of New Englandy. I think almost a little bit like pretentious, but also kind of if you're going to New York, like mean.
No, I wouldn't say pretentious. I would say more like small town by the water, like. You know, the songs are like, eyes wise, a bill's a boat, and eyes of eyes, eyes like it's very like
Sailor Town. Oh, I love that. Yeah,
and so you can hear it in her accent sometimes. It's also a little bit, it kind of sounds a little bit Irish.
Yeah.
But East Coast kind of sound.
I love her accent. I can listen to
kind of Irishy. But it's like, so they're just very friendly out on the East Coast. They're not small towns, like smaller obviously than the US, but like they're more close-knit communities, we'll say.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a lot of support. And so, so she's definitely going to be a fan favorite within Canada because East Coast always support the other East Coast people. So yeah, she's definitely an East Coast Canada girl. And that sentiment is usually very kind, very, works for their friends, like would be good managers. Like they're just usually really great, nice people.
Aw. And I think that's what everyone in the house thinks. I remember when we first started watching the live feeds, every single person was just like, I love Tina. I love Tina. I love Tina.
Definitely East Coast Canada sentiment is to like just love everybody from there. So true.
Oh, this is interesting. I completely disagree with you, Miriam. I think it's the opposite. I think Tara has a lot of bark, but I don't think she has any control. I don't think she has the leash.
I also do not agree. Because I think that Tina just allows Tara to do Tara and doesn't let it seem as though it's what she wants or it's her angle. I think that she just lets Tara talk. I don't think that Tina necessarily agrees with the things that Tara says all the time, but she doesn't ever follow through with these things. I think she just lets Tara, as you're saying, just bark. I really don't think that Tara would rule Tina's HOH at all.
Yeah. And Tina is very logical in my eyes. And so I think that she could get Tara on her side because she could convince her with just like pure logic. Because I think that what Tina and Tara need moving forward are pretty synonymous. I think that they're kind of together right now. So I think the same people that would target one are targeting the other.
Yeah, I think that they would both still be doing the same thing though. So I think that they would put up the boys, both of them, or Beth and the boys. Like the throuple is going up for either their head of household. So But I do think that Tina is her own person, absolutely. And I do not think that Tara is running Tina at all.
Tara thinks she is, though.
Yeah, I think so. I think that she's like, I'm the best at this game, almost as much as Victoria thinks she's the best that's ever played.
Yeah. If Victoria gets to the end, though, I just can't imagine it.
Who do you want to win at this point?
Oh, I would love if Victoria could win. I would absolutely love it. Besides Victoria, though, I think Ty is a nice boy.
I do too. I think, and hearing that Tara is always coming for him on the feeds, and that even that his mom has had to say something running his account, like his Twitter or whatever, like he's such a sweet boy, and like I feel like he just doesn't seem like cruel or mean or saying anything bad ever. And he's actually displaying some microaggressions in the house about him, saying that she's like worried that he's going to, you know, be violent or dangerous around her. And it's just things that are inappropriate, I think, to be saying about somebody that hasn't, from what I've experienced, showed any signs of being threatening or, you know, intimidating. So I think that he's a really stand-up person, personally.
I forgot about Tina. I want Tina to win too. I don't know why I forgot about Tina.
We're rooting for Victoria, Ty, Jed, or Tina to win. Do you know what? I'm Silent Podcast. I'm with you. I stand with those 4 people. I'm coming around on Victoria. You know what I mean?
You'll get there. You'll get on the hype train.
Well, I'm really hype train because I always look at who I'd want to work with and play with in the house.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would be able to play with her.
Oh, I would.
Can I ask what your sign is?
I'm a Pisces.
Pisces. Okay, that makes sense then. Okay. Because Victoria's a Virgo, and so that's on the same polarity line, and so you guys are opposite. So you really understand her, even though she's the opposite of you, kind of. You understand a lot about her, and she understands a lot about you, because what she has, you don't have, and vice versa. And then you also have a little bit what she has, and vice versa. So I get why you vibe with her then, and why you vibe with Ro. He's a Pisces too.
Ro?
Yeah.
Did you say Ro? Oh my gosh, I don't even know if I
Rosa
mentioned
Pisces.
That was my winner pick. I was so drawn to him when the season started. So drawn.
When I'm like, oh, I can't stand him. You're like, oh, I like him.
I know now he's been quite disappointing recently in my eyes, but I still have faith. He's not my winner pick, but I have faith that he's gonna turn it around.
I don't know if he will, but he might be able to escape by next week, and then maybe he can fade into the background.
Okay, but let's just move on a little bit. Let's start ranking these people for where we actually think they land, and I got rid of everyone who's been eliminated.
Okay.
So this is everyone left, and I don't know if you have opinions. Who do you think is playing the best game? We can start with that.
I do think right now that Tina is playing the best game.
Okay, are you good to put her in S tier then?
Mm-hmm.
Tina was in S tier before, so she gets to stay in S tier.
She hasn't really been making that many mistakes. She hasn't been making that many moves, but I think that
had to.
Exactly.
That's I think would be my struggle in the Big Brother house, is knowing when to shut up and knowing when to not like insert yourself in the move making or whatever it's called. I think that would be really hard for me to take a step back, and so I think that she has that skill. I think Keifer has been demonstrating that he also has that skill right now, because I think he even said he's going to throw the next HOH, and I think that's the correct thing to do for him.
Yeah, I don't know if I could ever throw any competitions, but because if I ever went out and on a competition that I threw, I would be really furious. So I don't know if I could throw it, but I might not try so hard if I'm in a good position. But okay. Yeah. So what do those tiers stand for?
I think that S is superior, and then it's just basically A, B, C, D.
Gotcha.
But I think S is superior. So S is the best, and then it just goes down. So is there anyone that stands out to you, like it's good or bad? Oh, Latoya's here. Go away.
Oh, just like that.
Is this how many people are left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Are we at 10?
I think so.
Wow, look at us. Look at us going down. I
I
feel
guess
bad I deleted
I'm always
Latoya.
a big person. Yeah.
Should have kept Latoya anyway. Okay. I'm trying to think who is standing out to me. To me, Austin is not playing a good game right now.
No, she's not saving herself. She's not putting herself in a position where people will want to keep her. She's not even helping her ally, who's most likely going to be staying. Like she hasn't really been doing anything.
I think she's being like confrontational, but in like a non-messy way. Because sometimes being messy is advantageous, but she's not being messy either. She's just kind of being confrontational for no reason in my eyes. So I kind of want to put her in D personally.
She's in a D position for sure. I don't see her doing anything to get out of going home this week.
Yeah, no, I agree. Who else? There's people like Beth also and Tara who are to me kind of similar, where people just it's just their personalities, but people just I think are not connected to them or drawn to them, and don't trust them. Maybe is the better word. That's more Beth. I think Beth isn't as trustworthy, and Tara is just kind of annoying to people.
Yeah, I think I'd put both of them in C.
Okay, I like that. Because Beth has some good things going with her. She has the protection of the throuple. Because I think she is. The weird thing though is, I think there's a good chance Beth goes before the boys. I don't know if that's gonna end up happening, but I just like based on who's in the house, I just don't think that like Keifer's gonna vote out the boys. I don't think Vic's gonna vote out the boys. They're not gonna vote out each other. So if Beth is on the block with one of the boys, I think Beth goes.
Yes, because I think that the people that would put up Beth, well, I can only think of for sure would be Tara, and Tara would want Beth to go if that's the case. So it obviously depends on who wins it and who is the intended target. But I wouldn't be surprised though if Tara's like, oh my God, we got Beth up there, let's get her out, and she might be able to rally the votes in that case, especially if she's not vibing with a lot of the housemates.
Mm-hmm. So Miriam thinks that Keifer is playing the best game, which I think he is playing a really good game right now, but I still think there's times where Keifer has been almost like too sensitive for Big Brother, like when he's got kind of defensive about being on the block the first time, and I don't know if he quite adjusts to that. And I think he does. I think when he's safe, he's playing great, but I think when he's in danger, he's not always the best player.
I agree.
You have to be the best player.
So would you put him in S, like after Tina, or would you put him in A?
I would go A.
I can agree with you there. Because I
would maybe even go B, but
B? Okay, I could put it. I could get behind B because I do feel that it is possible for him to go home.
I'll do A for Miriam. Miriam, if you want him in A, we'll put him in A. Well, I think you want him in S, but I vetoed that. Who's next? Okay, we got
Rohan.
He has so much potential. I think he has so much potential, but he's playing bad. Right? I don't know. He's playing. I don't know if I support his decisions.
Well, I didn't see this particular conversation, but I've heard other feeders talking about it. And he had a conversation with Beth, kind of setting up a final two with her, and she was like, asking her whether or not she would be willing to ever put up the boys ever, and she was basically saying like, yeah, eventually, but not now. And then he decides to throw the boys under the bus, saying that like, oh, that they're coming for you or something to that effect. That she basically went over and asked them, like asked Jen if like, oh, are you playing me? And so he went from potentially having a secret final two or, deal with Beth to Beth not trusting you anymore. And so he has good ideas, but his execution, in my books, no.
So I'm between B and C.
I'm going to have to say C because I think that he goes up for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think he's got B potential though.
If he wins head of household.
Yeah, that's true. He needs to win a comp and really start to finally, because he does. He's been talking about these big moves since day one, but he just can't actually do anything with them.
Well, then if he wanted to make a big movie, he should have kept Austin because they may have been able to save both of them. If Beth even went up on the block, they might be able to get Beth out. So it would have been risky, of course, but if he wants to make big moves, that's what he should have tried.
Yeah. So now what do we want to do? Jed has now become the new Beth's showmance. Do you think that's good for him or bad for him?
I think it's good for him as long as the house doesn't know that he is more close to Beth. I think that right now, if someone's targeting Beth, they're going to put up Beth's closest ally, which I do feel they think is Ty at this point. And so if they start to be like, oh, wait, Beth is more into Jed and they're more locked down as ride or dies, I think that it puts him in a more dangerous situation. So
if it's Jed and Ty, who goes?
I think Ty would go.
You do. So do we think? I do think they're playing well, though. I do think the boys are now. I think that in the beginning, I didn't really like understand their game because I thought it was more just like purely social. But I think they are playing.
I don't. I can give them a B though. Really? I mean, I guess if Keifer's an A, then they're a B.
Do we want to put them both in B?
Yeah, I would put Jed ahead.
Okay. Not that this order matters, but so we'll put him a little, like, look, he's a little higher. I was kidding.
Well, I think of it as whoever's closest to the left is the closest to moving up to the next level. So
that's okay, that makes sense. Because clearly Beth is the queen of the C tier.
Exactly. Oh, and Victoria.
She could go anywhere.
You know what? I think I would
put her in S. I could put her in D.
I think I would slide. Oh, man, is she A tier in this ranking system?
She's been making moves, and her moves have been successful.
That's true.
If you go on paper, she has the social. She's been making the alliances. She's been getting the people out who were her targets. On paper, she's pretty good.
Okay, so A, you think she's better or worse than Keifer?
I think she's in a worse spot.
Okay. Okay, I can get behind that.
Okay, now Brayden, he's kind of a, I don't know.
I mean, I can see him being bottom of C.
Bottom of C?
Yeah, like I think Rohan's doing more than he is. I think Tara's doing more than he is. I think Beth is doing more than so he's in a decent spot.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't think that he's doing anything for his game right now. So I just can't think that the fact that he's up on the block proves to me that he hasn't been really doing much for his game.
Yeah. But it's kind of interesting with Brayden because I could see him all of a sudden really come into the game and come into his own and then all of a sudden be like an S tier player by the end of the game.
Sure.
Right now he is playing the under the radar game pretty flawlessly because it was pretty shocking he went up, I think, to a lot of people because I don't think he is on people's radars. So yeah, fair. But yeah. I like the list. I think I agree with everything on it, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, because I can't call it an A or superior, but I just think that this is the order.
Yeah, no, I agree. and I've said this before on the podcast, but like I am so happy though that I really do think the house guests are playing more than some past BB seasons I've seen. Like every single day there seems to be game talk. Every single day there seems to be more drama, and I've just loved this season personally.
Totally great season. It's fun to watch. There's like gaming going on, but I don't know if it's a strategic like I like it. And so that's the messy factor though. So I pretty much am going to like the games where people are going to be making the best decisions. But to watch, I like this kind of game better. You know what I mean? If people like 22, Cody, like he was playing a really, really good game strategically and whatnot. Boring to watch though, so it's like you can't really have your cake and eat it too when being a Big Brother watcher. But going in the house, I'd probably be boring, but I'd hopefully be playing.
You wouldn't be boring.
I wouldn't be making bad flashy moves though.
Yeah, and I think Arissa Cox made a tweet that I kind of took as like a hot take. That was kind of like, I don't care if it's good gameplay or bad gameplay or messy gameplay, as long as they're playing, it's interesting for me as a viewer. And I kind of agree with that because how do you really know it's good gameplay unless there's bad gameplay happening as well?
True, that's true.
And good gameplay only actually succeeds because of people making bad moves. So I like it all. I like people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
trying.
enjoying it. I'm just like critiquing it because
Yeah,
that's what.
no, you should. You should. I
But
think
it's
that's
definitely
yeah.
a fun season.
Yeah, that's all I have though. Do you want to say any social media or anything like that? Got anything to
Sure.
plug?
I do host my own YouTube channel, Reality Realness, with 3 S's. I talk about Big Brother, so I go live after the episodes, doing the challenge, season 36. We're going to be starting on Friday. We're going to be going live at, I think, 10 p.m. Eastern, talking about the challenge All-Stars. And I think that's all that's on the docket right now. Thinking of bringing in something a little bit more smutty, so maybe something like Bravo, or I think Too Hot to Handle starting in April. So might bring in something a little bit less than competitive reality TV games when that comes out. So right now, just a challenge in Big Brother, but soon to be some trashy stuff.
Oh, I love that. We love the spicy TV, as they say.
Too Hot to Handle.
I know. Well, everyone, my Twitter is SarahYell06, and I think that's all we got. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.